The Queen's Talk, where we honor and celebrate women on their self-love journey, where we share our stories about how we overcame past trauma and where we are now. Welcome to the Queen's Talk, Queens. Hello, everybody. I am Leslie from Brown Girls Embrace, and tonight we have Dawn with us. She is a real estate agent, and we're going to talk about career changes and self-love. So, welcome, Dawn. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Good. And so, tell everybody your name and where you're from.
My name is Dawn Stewart. I'm originally from California. I now live in Baltimore, Maryland. And what else would you like to know?
No, just trying to introduce yourself. So, we're talking about self-love tonight. So, when I first met you, you said that you had a transition from your old career to your new career because you wanted to do what you love to do. And a lot of people really don't. They're kind of stuck in a job that they really don't want to do. So, what made you jump on that leap of faith and do something that you like to do? Because a lot of times people are in a 9-to-5 job that just makes them miserable.
Yes, that was me. I've taken steps over the years to help me get out of the misery. So that first time that I took a step to get out of the misery was to go back to graduate school and get my master's. And during that time, when the semester was starting, we would be introducing ourselves to our classmates. I would be the person that says, "Hi, my name's Dawn, and I hate my job." And that's how I would introduce myself, because I hated my job. And so to be able to do something different, I saw a path through going back to school and increasing my education. And that was a good plan and a good idea, but then the economy turned.
Mm-hmm.
It took a change, and I was coming out of grad school as the economy was falling apart and people weren't hiring, and the things that I thought I was going to be able to do weren't an option. So I was still kind of stuck in the same place, hating my job.
Wow.
So I said, okay, well, what else can I do? So I might do the same thing, but maybe in a different capacity, in a different location. So this was all while I was living in California. So I started applying for new jobs. I'm like, all right, I hate this one.
Yeah.
let's change what I can. And ultimately received a job offer here in Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
And they paid for me to relocate. So there was no reason for me to not try. And I said, if I hate what I'm doing here,
Right.
maybe I can find some joy someplace else. And the transition was nice. It was new. There was a lot of freshness with the move. So I was happy. But ultimately, when I would get up in the morning and go to work and be at work, I was miserable.
Right. Oh, wow, that's the worst.
So I was like, all right, this isn't it. And I just had to stop and think, like, okay, what can I do? What do I want to do? What can I do to get rid of the misery? And there had been a time before, shortly after I finished college, I had talking with a realtor, had gotten licensed. At that time, I lived in the state of Texas. Got my real estate license and was working real estate part-time. I was working my full-time job, and then I started working in real estate, and I enjoyed it. And I realized that I was actually utilizing a lot of the skills that I had learned in school, because I was a business major, and I was now essentially a business owner. And I was applying all of the things that I had learned. So it was satisfying. It was satisfying what I was doing, helping people, having flexibility and not being capped. Before I had a salary, and no matter how hard I worked, that's all that I was going to make.
Exactly.
So when I made the transition and decided to leave my 9-to-5 and I did real estate full time, that sense of happiness was there. So I enjoyed that time. I ultimately did choose to move back home to California. And again, making that transition, I got trapped in that thought process of like, I need a job, I need a check
Mm-hmm.
to carry me through, because now I'm changing markets, I'm, leaving the business that I had started to build,
Mm-hmm.
and essentially was going to be starting from scratch.
Mhm.
So I felt like I need a job, so I got a job.
And that's what a lot of us do. Is when we feel like, okay, like at least some income coming in, we get a job and like kind of lay everything else to the wayside. I wanted to mention when you said that you went to college for this and you came out and still with no job. And that's what society has us thinking, that if we go to college, it's guaranteed a job. It's not guaranteed a job. So that's kind of like giving us false hopes. And that's what's kind of like messing us up, like when it comes to our mental health. It's like, well, I thought if I went to school and got my degree, I would come out with something. Can you tell us how that kind of messed up with you mentally? Like, going to school thinking that you're doing the right thing to get this position and be at a certain level financially, and you're not.
Yeah, that was a tough pill to swallow. It was, I think, the only thing that kind of helped me through it was just the fact that the economy was doing what it was doing. So that was 2010. So, with the auto industry fall, the bank mortgage industry, and just what happened with the economy, and just across the board, a lot of companies were downsizing and whatnot. That was a little helpful with it, because like you said, you go to school and you graduate and you get this degree, and it doesn't guarantee you to get a job. So even if the economy hadn't done what it did in 2010, it wasn't really a guarantee that I was going to be able to transition. But that was, again, the thought process, the understanding, and one avenue for me to get there. And you know what they say, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So I got the degree, that wasn't working, and I had to figure out something else to be able to find the happiness inside myself.
And what were you going through mentally when you wasn't able to find what you were looking for after you?
It was hard. It was hard because it was like, I'm doing, quote unquote, what I'm supposed to do.
Exactly.
This is what I'm supposed to do. So why am I not getting the result and the rewards of all of this effort? It was, working full time, going to grad school, and having to take time off of grad school because work was so demanding, and it was taken away from me personally. There were family trips that I didn't go on because of work, and I was miserable.
Wrong.
So that was hard. And then to make this transition, like, okay, yes, I'm gonna, be able to do something else, and that didn't happen. It was a big blow, and again, I think I did stay positive through it, and it was like, all right, well, this was one way to do it. What else can I do? So jobs there locally weren't coming, nothing was coming about there. So I decided to open up my range of where I was open to, and shortly after I became open to transferring and moving, then things started.
And that's the thing, when people have to be open to it, they can't just kind of be stagnant and be miserable.
Right.
You have to have that mindset of, okay, let me try something else that doesn't make this happen. So what happened when you open up doors?
It's really weird because the job that I was offered, I didn't even apply for. I got a phone call.
Wow, okay.
And I think I must have changed my settings on Indeed or LinkedIn and indicated that I was open to relocation. So I got a phone call, and it was almost surreal, because at least, there were jobs that I was applying for out of state. But this, I didn't know anything about the job. I got a phone call, and it really just worked out. And when I opened myself up to relocation, that was something that I was preparing myself for, to manage financially on my own. Because a lot of times, if I would have just, applied for a job in another state and they hired me, 9 times out of 10, I would have been responsible for getting myself there and getting myself set up. So again, with this call coming to me and the company looking, they were opening their search to be able to find the candidate. And with that, they recognized that they would probably, need to do relocation. So it was perfect for me. So it was, again, just once I made the decision to do something different.
That's great. And that's really to be commended, because a lot of people don't do what makes them happy and change their mindset. Okay, so what do I can do that I do enjoy, and how opportunities came because you were open to it.
Yes.
That's a beautiful thing. So you are a real estate agent right now.
Yes.
So with you being a real estate agent and the economy being the way it is right now, with the economy being so up and down with money, how do you manage it all with like your mental health? Because sometimes I know it's good and sometimes it's bad.
Yes.
Like it's the dry season and it's the rich season.
So I think probably my path to getting here has led me to keeping my mind open.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't only focus on my real estate business in terms of me helping clients as my only source of income.
Mm-hmm.
And by me being running a small business, I have control over my time.
Mm-hmm.
So it allows for me to be able to use my time that's best for me and not serving the goals of somebody else and putting constraints on me that limit me from being able to do other things. Because again, 9 to 5, you have to be there right at 9. You think you're leaving at 5, but it might be 6:15, and
Mm-hmm.
How do you schedule appointments?
Yeah.
And take care of business, or even if it's not an appointment, just how do you get the things done that you need to get done?
And the time allotted.
If somebody else is encroaching on your time, so that's what I've learned is just to be open and make opportunities for myself.
That's great. That's really commendable, because like I said before, a lot of people don't create. They complain and we're angry and we lash out on others because we're miserable inside. So that's what I want to commend you. I want to give you your flowers for that. So life as a real estate, and I didn't realize that a real estate agent it has a small business because you're self-employed. So how is entrepreneur life?
That is something that I'm learning to embrace. And again, it's just that mindset of, being conditioned, to get a job and to work for somebody, and, that check come, whether it's a once a month check or, once a week or every 2 weeks, just being conditioned to that. So changing and understanding the cycle, planning, because again, there are times where, the money's, flowing in regularly and in great, quantity. And there are other times where, one deal, may fall apart and it just, changes the trajectory of the month. So planning, but being an entrepreneur has been, again, just really one of the most rewarding things that I've done.
Wow, I wasn't expecting you to say that.
So it's being able to allow myself to do what it is that I want to do. And if it's, taking the time to learn something new, if it's being able to take the time to volunteer or be of service in a way that, again, when I'm working a 9 to 5, I might not be able to stop and do something at 2 o'clock that, might help somebody else. But a lot of times when you're helping others, you're really helping yourself.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's so with all of it, with the ups and the downs, it's entrepreneurship is something that I've enjoyed. And with me having been a business major, and I'm still trying
Oh,
to.
so your major was business?
Yes. So
Oh, okay.
undergrad, I studied business economics.
Mm-hmm.
I did my MBA with a focus in project management. I'd gone back and had started a second master's in human resources.
Wow, so you got the credentials.
So that was
yeah.
The thing. So that's and that's what I do. That's what I do now is manage a small business. So
and that's what is commendable, is to use the skills that you have to become better and build on these skills and to profit off of and build income off of it. Because a lot of people like they have so many things, but you just have the confidence to do it. You know, to use your skills. So do you have any advice you would give to any entrepreneurs or any other real estate agents?
I do. One, believe in yourself, and if you're not gonna, take a chance on yourself, who else do you expect to?
Exactly.
So it's believe in yourself, take the chance on yourself, and do it early. Because really, the first time I did it, when I got my license, when I lived in Texas, I was much younger.
Mhm.
And it was an easier transition because, if I stop and look at it, I didn't have anything. So I didn't really have anything to lose.
Right.
And, as, time went on and you start, getting into, the real life and real adulting and having real bills and real responsibilities, I understand how people get stuck. But you have to believe in yourself and take that chance on yourself. And
building confidence in yourself.
it's, making the transition. I had a mortgage. It was like, what am I going to do? But it was like, okay. And the economy was down, so I couldn't even sell the house.
Yeah.
I couldn't even sell the house, so I got a tenant.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like, so I took that off myself. I took
Yeah.
that off myself and figured out how to be able to get there. And I figured that, I might as well take one step and try it. If it, if it hits and it gets me either to my door or at least it's one step closer versus me not doing anything.
That's great. This was so refreshing to hear. So what's the last advice you can give anybody on self-care? How do you fit self-care into being an entrepreneur or making time for yourself? Because I know being an entrepreneur myself, I'm a hairstylist, do podcasts, and make shea butters and pop-ups and do all of these different things. So fitting that time for self-care can be hectic a lot, but you have to do it for your mental state. So what's your suggestion?
Schedule it. Make it an appointment just like you would a doctor's appointment. Whether it's a manicure, whether it's a walk in the park, whatever it is that you need to help keep yourself balanced and happy, put it on your calendar.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just one of those kind of like non-negotiables. So when other appointments are coming up, you don't have to tell somebody that, you have a manicure, scheduled. You just have to have an appointment.
Exactly.
And people will understand and respect, your time. So that's, in terms of the self-care, it's important you have to schedule it.
Yeah, I agree because if money calls, sometimes you feel like you gotta go because money's calling, I gotta go. But no, you have to have a schedule. People have to respect your schedule, your time, and everything like that.
And I've never lost a client or an opportunity because I was taking care of myself. I just let them know that, what my availability is and
setting boundaries.
Respect that and schedule accordingly.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so where can people find you? For your information for your real estate business?
So I am available in your traditional ways, phone and email. I am also on social, working to be a little bit more active with it. But
this is a start.
Yes, I can be found on Instagram and on Facebook. I am the Real Estate Dawn. My phone number, is that okay for you? Yes, so I can be reached by phone. My phone number is area code 410-900-7007.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This is my first in-person podcast. It was lovely having you. So thanks, everybody. If you have any questions, feel free to hit up Donna or me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, check out my products. I have hair butters, body butters, hair oils, and all the good things. So thanks, everybody. Have a good night. Bye.